Jaghatai Khan is one of the most skilled, one of the most mysterious, has one of the most open endings of a Primarch disappearing, and in today's video we're going to be discussing brand new lore taken from the Era of Ruin book. This story features what happened to Jaghatai after his duel with Mortarion, his little journey he went on, and how, for me, this is potentially setting up for his return to Warhammer 40,000. So let's jump in and let's get waffling. As I mentioned, this lore is taken from the new Era of Ruin book. If you're currently reading that, if you haven't read it and you don't want to be spoiled, then please leave the video right now. This is your first and only spoiler warning. Now, as we all know, Jaghatai Khan fought Mortarion at the Siege of Terra. He banished Mortarion at the spaceport at the risk of literally dying. He impaled himself on Mortarion's scythe to get the killing blow on Mortarion. Jaghatai Khan was taken away. There was hints that, of course, he was still alive, but in this book, it's confirmation that basically Jaghatai Khan did die. He went somewhere. He went to a secret place, which we'll get into in a second, but then he came back from the dead. Now, the quote I'm putting in the background right now is between his conversation with a person called Ilya, who basically the main story focuses on, and her story and her path during and after the Siege of Terra. And she basically says, "So then, are you recovering?" she asked. The Khan didn't reply immediately. "I walked strange paths," he said, his voice now little more than a whisper. "I saw the hidden realm. For a time, I was part of it. I was in it. I searched for him, my brother, and when I couldn't find him, I knew the end had come. So I came back." Now, there's so much to break down in that short little passage of text. First things first, Jaghatai Khan has been searching for the soul of Horus in this place where he went to, which we'll get onto in a second. He can't find Horus because, of course, the Emperor obliterated his soul, and that's what he was looking for. It actually mentions in other bits of text in this short story that he didn't think like the Emperor would do that type of vengeance, but we all know he had to do that. Horus even said to the Emperor he had to do it because the powers of chaos would literally use his soul, use his body to reenact other types of traitor acts. So that's why the Emperor had to fully just erase him. Remember what the Emperor says, right? "I forgive you and I will wait for you," whatever that bloody means. That's a whole video in itself. So Jaghatai Khan is really sad at this. Jaghatai Khan was very, very, very close to Horus. Throughout the Great Crusade, he was one of the closest brothers to Horus, and it was really on a knife's edge, kind of, if Jaghatai Khan was going to join Horus, but he didn't. He joined the forces of the Emperor and fought against the traitors. So Jaghatai Khan is at a loss now that his brother has been completely erased from everything. Now, the thing that really gets my foil theory actually rumbling is what he said about the paths he walked. He walked paths. He was briefly like in a hidden realm. Now, there's a few theories out there that saying the hidden realm is the warp, which I completely can see that, right? That could be the hidden realm between realities. But if it was that, then why was there no mention of demons or anything? Why didn't he call it the warp or something like that? He called it the hidden realm. And my personal fan theory on this is maybe the hidden realm is the City of Dust, this so-called empire between empires that has been teased so many times. We got to see it in the End of the Death with the Emperor, you know, doing his shadow mode, just tearing everything apart for people who read that. The Eisenhorn, the Ravna, the Beckwin stuff, the King in Yellow, right? All this has been building up to something absolutely massive, which we're still waiting on, and we're still hoping that Dan is going to reveal to us, maybe hopefully this year, right? Pandemonium, the last book, so we can finally get some ending to this massive story arc that we've all been waiting for years. Again, Dan Abnett is basically, well, he's always been under NDA with certain things, but he's now actively saying, "I can't talk about Pandemonium at events I go to," okay? I'd love to talk about it, but I can't. And there's a lot of theory that maybe Pandemonium is connected to the Amazon stuff and shows and everything, and that's going to be something going forward. We're really going down the foil hole at this moment in time, but he walked into a hidden realm, and I'm wondering now what that hidden realm could be and the significance of what it could be impactful to in the lore. Because let's face it, right? Jaghatai Khan was dead. He died, and he chose to come back to the living. So does that technically mean now that other Primarchs can technically come back to the living? Could Sanguinius come back? Could Ferrus come back? Conrad Kurz come back? Don't you dare say Rogel Dawn, chat, because Rogel Dawn is alive. You know, no body equals no death. But the thing I'm trying to say is that if a Primarch can choose to come back from that situation, then what's stopping other Primarchs technically from coming back from that situation? Maybe I'm looking at this wrong and he didn't really die, but that's the way I took it. Am I wrong at saying that? I would love to get your opinion. Did Jaghatai Khan die and then come back from death? Now, another thing that's mentioned in this book is Jaghatai Khan now returning is basically not what Jaghatai Khan was. He actually says, I'll put the quote in the background right now, "I am not what he was," he mumbled. And the sage Ilya is like, what did that mean? Is he weaker? Has his role changed or something? But I think what he technically means is that coming back from that zone, that place he went to, has changed Jaghatai Khan now. Maybe he is a little bit weaker. Maybe his thoughts have changed on the Imperium, the outlook of what him being a being of a Primarch actually is. But Jaghatai Khan has changed, and I think this potentially could affect now his re-emergence into Warhammer 40,000. We all know that Jaghatai Khan has disappeared into the webway, and some big hints that we've got for a potential return of Jaghatai Khan is that Black Library have been asking for authors to write about the Dark Eldar city and stuff like that. Armageddon was part of that, Vigils were part of that, and the Dark Eldar city was part of that. There's a big Dark Eldar range refresh coming in 11th edition, if I'm not mistaken. There's little bits of crumbs that, which yes, I'm connecting the foil to, like there's nothing foundational there, but I think there's little bits of crumbs leading to a potential return of Jaghatai Khan. The thing is, when it comes to Jaghatai Khan, if they were to bring him back, that would make quite a lot of sense, because he's always been that Primarch where it's free roaming. He doesn't want to be strapped down with the bureaucracy of the Imperium. He could basically just take a fleet and venture off into the stars and just slay the enemies of the Imperium, chaos and stuff like that, and it would make sense for his character, and it would leave Guilliman still running the Imperium, and there would be no discourse of like Jaghatai wanting to take over and stuff. Maybe we can have that with a Lion when they eventually do bloody meet up in 40k, but yes, we just don't know that yet. So it does make sense for Jaghatai to return. Not only that, if he did return in Warhammer 40,000, a lot of people would love that, myself included. I think he's one of the most popular Primarchs. Him, Vulcan, one of the coolest Primarchs that people would like to see return. I know we've spoken about Leman Russ before. I think Leman Russ is probably the most logical choice due to the Space Wolf range and everything like that. But to have like an outsider like Vulcan or Jaghatai return to the setting, I think that could be a massive rumble to Warhammer 40,000 lore and just make it really, really cool. Again, there's so many theories, there's so many takes to have at this, different angles to go through. But for me, I'm saying that Jaghatai Khan died, he came back, he went to a place, maybe this place is where the Emperor intended Primarchs to go to if they were to die, so he can bring their souls back and put them into new bodies. How about that for a place, right? But obviously the Emperor can't do that, because the Emperor at the moment is on the Golden Throne. Maybe one day, like, the Primarch souls can be brought back and put into different bodies, or different chalices, maybe like Sanguinius into Dante and all that kind of theory. We can really go down the hole. But it's a really strange one, right? It really got me excited. It's absolutely an amazing story from Chris Wright. But then again, when has Chris Wright not had an amazing story or short story featuring the White Scars or anything else he touches? He's probably one of the best authors at Black Library. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Enough waffling from me. That is my little take on everything that's been going on. I'd love to get your thoughts, your opinions, your theories. Post it down below, and we can have a nice little chin wag down there, as we always do. See ya. Have a great day, evening, night, where you are in the world, and bye-bye.